So did you just get a ball python and you don't know what morph it is or what the pattern is or what type it is, or you just got questions on how to identify the morphs? Well, stick around for this video and hopefully I can show you some tips on how you can figure that out for yourself.
These brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, never gotta roll with ice. These brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, never gotta roll with ice.
Hey guys, how's it going? This is Paul with Spheric Reptiles, and I thank you so much for tuning in to this 5 tips on how to identify your ball python's pattern morphs. This is Cody. My coworker Travis, his girls, you know, they had Cody for quite a while, and what he noticed is, like a lot of ball python owners, is that, you know, they just didn't have time for him. So he reached out to me, since we're coworkers, and I definitely am glad of that, and asked if we could rehome Cody for them. And I gladly agreed because, you know, one more ball python and one more mouth to feed on top of 78 is not going to hurt anything for us. So she's definitely a gorgeous female that I know from sexing, but I don't know what pattern morph she is. And I'm guessing that she's a normal, so that's my first guess. But, you know, if you're tuning into this video, you probably are just like me in this situation where you just recently acquired a snake, whether it's from a big chain store, pet store like Petco, PetSmart, or Pet Supplies Plus, or another one, or you picked up one from a show, failed to ask questions, and now you're at home with this gorgeous, beautiful animal, and you don't know what pattern morph it is. So when you explain it to people, or you get on Instagram or TikTok or even YouTube, you don't really know what to say about your animal. So hopefully this video will help. Part 1 is to understand what is a morph. So if you're new to reptiles, you really don't even know what a morph is. So long story short, is a morph is a phenotypic expression of that chromosome for the pattern. So in simple terms, that is just a simple way of saying it's what pattern that you have. So a morph equals a pattern. So whatever pattern you see, and you know, so albino would be a pattern, desert ghost would be a pattern, clown, yellow belly, pastel is a pattern, also orange dream, acid, and confusion. Some of the times the pattern morphs get twisted, like acid and confusion are the same, lesser and butter are the same, mystic and phantom are the same, but it still will lead you towards the same path of identifying. If you know you have a mystic, then you know you have a phantom. If you have a normal, then that's probably the hardest one to identify in the reptile hobby because you just don't see them as often. And when you do, they have a different pattern. So, you know, and that's, like I said, that's what I'm guessing that Cody here is, which is just, she's just such a beautiful snake. She was handled a lot, and that's just one of the things that just fit into what we were trying to do, and the fact that we enrich our animals all the time. So this might end up being our mascot animal at the shows. We're going to see. We're going to test it out in this next Repticon show that's coming up the weekend that you're seeing this video. It's in Grapevine, Texas. So if you are looking at this and you want to know and get to see what Cody actually looks like in person, head on out. So now that we got the morphs, what is a morph defined, right? So now you know what you're actually looking for. So when you talk to other people, you can talk in their same language. Now we'll start with the basics. So you got to identify what color is the ball python and what pattern does it have. And as you look at this video that I'm showing you, you can see that the color, you know, is darker. And you're looking for any type of fading along the dorsal. And then you look at the pattern to see if there's striped spots, if there's a reduced pattern, or if there's any blushing. Blushing will show up in the form of like a faded color coming from the bottom, or it'll be on the top of the snake. So if I talk about the dorsal pattern, this is the dorsal pattern that's here. It's very dark all the way along. I don't see any blushing. While I do see a little bit of blushing here on the sides, I don't know if you guys are picking that up or not. And then when I look at the belly, I see that there is some pattern on the belly, which could tell me a couple of things, but that's kind of normal for ball pythons as well, for the normal ball pythons that have a lot of genes in them, because no one snake is just normal. They have a little bit of everything else in them. So for the next part, as you're watching this video, I'm going to put Cody on one side, and then I'm going to put the MorphMarket page on the other, and I'm going to scroll through how I identified what she is as best I could using MorphMarket. And I would rather use MorphMarket because it has a lot of different examples on there, as new breeders are putting those images up of their ball pythons all the time. I mean, daily. And then they also keep a good record of it. So as I said before, there's other sources. So you can go to the World of Ball Python, but they're only going to have maybe 1 or 2 examples there. Whereas if you use MorphMarket, I'm not sponsored by either one, but if you use MorphMarket, then you definitely can see different types of the same snake, because not any pattern is the same. Just like in humans, no one is the same. I got the split screen with our ball python, and I'm using MorphMarket here. Searching ball pythons, I go and I type in normal just to see what I'm looking for, normal, and then make sure that you select ball pythons, and then you're going to get a list of ball pythons here. And I think this is what everybody knows. You can scroll up and down, or what I would choose to do is do trait count lowest, and then I'm going to be sure to get the sorted for that. I found the first one that looks like Cody, and I start to zoom in and look at it, and I'm kind of looking to the side and at the top, just trying to find any markers that would let me know what I have. And to get another example, I just scroll up a little bit more through these normal ball pythons, sometimes they're called classic, and I'm just looking again for my ball python. I think that's what you want to do. And this one to me more similarly looks like my ball python. Of course, it's a lot smaller. This is a juvenile and ours is an adult female. But when I start to compare them, knowing that ball pythons get darker as they age, I see that it looks like we got a classic or a normal ball python. I don't see anything on the underbelly or on the top or dorsal or on the side that would tell me anything different, especially when I look at MorphMarket and see other examples. And I think that's what MorphMarket is good for, is just seeing what other people have and what they're labeling it. And you can kind of see what the outliers are as you go. But, this is what I think helps. Now that you've seen that, what I'll do is I'll compare another snake that we know from genetic testing, but just to walk through the same process again, and I promise you it's painless, I am going to show you a snake. His name is Prince. We know him from genetics to be a certain pattern morph, but I'm going to follow through the same pattern that I did for Cody here, and that way you can actually see exactly how you can identify not just a normal, but another type of pattern. And the key before we even start this is, if you're buying a snake that looks different, try to ask some questions from the seller or the breeder or the vendor to find out what pattern morph it is, so it can point you in the right direction. So with Prince, we got pointed in the right direction, so it's a little bit easier when you have that to deal with. So we'll look at MorphMarket again. Starting on the home page again, I'm seeing now Pastel Desert Ghost. And you'll end up with some animals, right? You'll select, make sure you're looking under ball pythons or the species that you have. I'm going to get a list, and then of course I'm going to sort by the lowest trait count, and then I'll get another list. I'm going to click on one to see how similar this is to the animal that I have. I noticed that the animal that I have is a Pastel Desert Ghost. I can tell by the head stamp, but it might have something else. So you can go through the filters and type in, for us, I'm typing in yellow belly, and then you can hit apply and it'll bring up all of the pastel yellow belly desert ghost. I found one, so just to sort, again, trait count lowest, I found this one and it shows it's a pastel yellow belly desert ghost. And luckily this vendor or seller has a lot of screens or photos, and look at that. I just found one that looks just like my pastel yellow belly desert ghost. Now you can see that I've identified Cody, to the best of our knowledge, from both of these videos that I just showed you on MorphMarket, as a normal or classic ball python, and Prince was identified as a pastel yellow belly desert ghost ball python. And I know I say the ball python part, but it's, when you're talking to people, it's best if you give them all the information, which leads up to the next point. If you still can't figure it out, you got pictures and videos of your animal posted on reptile forums, Instagram, MorphMarket as well. They have a forum, posted on TikTok, posted on YouTube, posted on, what else did I leave out? Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Paste it on Facebook and YouTube. And that way, just use all of the sources that you have, so that way you can help to better identify your animal. And lastly, guys, if push comes to shove, you can actually do a genetic shed test of your animal. You can actually do a full panel test, and you'd have to go through either, at this point, Gray Rider with Charlie, who's a great source, or you can go through Rare Genetics Incorporated or RGI if you use Clutch or MorphMarket. So, and the prices differ from either one. So what I would like for you to do is just look at each one for the patterns that you've helped to identify. And if you got pretty close, or if you just don't want to try it at all, you can do a full panel test. I believe a full panel is over $100. So with either one of them. So, you know, but it's one way that you can get that confidence. It shouldn't change the way that you treat your animal. But at the end of the day, you can actually get that proof of what your animal is. And if you don't know the sex, they even have sex determination tests as well. So, hey, you know, if you're watching this video, I just thank you so much. We still haven't identified, if you watched the video before this, because I got stumped from breeding two animals and getting an offspring that didn't look like either animal from what I was told. So I still haven't got the genetic test of those back. I'm still waiting on those sheds to dry out at this point. And as soon as I find that out, I'm going to let you know. But for watching this video, I thank you so much, guys. I welcome your comments on how you think this video is good or bad or some changes, because any comments definitely help those other people in the community that are having the same issues, or if you're an expert, you can give your advice out as well. Like and subscribe to this video. And if nothing else, guys, enjoy the time that you spend with your reptiles like Cody here, and cherish that time that you have with your family. Thank you.